The Royal Automobile Club's 1,000-mile trial is the fifth qualifying round of the 2015 Hero Cup in association with EFG Private Bank. There are 8 qualifying events in all, taking competitors all over the UK and Europe, on some of the toughest roads and the most beautiful locations. This is the 5th year that the Hero Cup has been awarded to premier membership drivers, and the first prize is a week's Mediterranean voyage on the 85-foot, fully crewed luxury schooner, the Oriander. Back in 1899, most of the great British public had never seen a motor car. Those that had were highly skeptical about its future as a means of transport. So in the spring of 1900, the Automobile Club planned an event to showcase this new invention, test the limits of human endurance and alter public perception. They wanted to capture the imagination and win over hearts and minds. They did just that. The event, which took in major towns and cities across the land, was a huge success and was known as the 1,000-mile trial. In 2014, the Royal Automobile Club and Hero Events organised an historic rerun of the original event. Perhaps not surprisingly, the event won the prestigious Rally of the Year 2014 at the International Historic Motoring Awards. The 2015 running is set to be another wonderful event, this time with a new route which takes competing crews through the heart of the English and Welsh countryside. The classification is intermediate, and with the route avoiding the more unforgiving surfaces, it means that it's suitable for all levels of experience. Navigation is straightforward, comprising of map reading and tulip diagrams. So here we are at the country home of the Royal Automobile Club at Woodcote Park, Epsom. While the weather may be a little grey and drizzly, it doesn't appear to have taken the shine off these dazzling vehicles. Neither has it dampened the competitors' spirits. The cars themselves offer an incomparable collection here on the Cedar Lawn, from an Austin 7 Super 750 right the way through to the Concorso d'Eleganza Villa d'Este, award-winning Mercedes-Benz 500k Cabriolet A. It represents a world-class field. Right now we're looking at Car 1, a 1927 Bugatti Type 37A, piloted by Viola Procovio. This particular vehicle was owned by the great Tazio Nuvolari, who had a reputation for mischief, reportedly tailing teammate Achille Vasi at night in the 1930 Mille Miglia with his headlights off at speeds in excess of 140 kilometers an hour, before gleefully turning his headlights back on to overtake him and win the event.
So the car is a 37A, meaning with compressor. It's a 4-cylinder. It's a car has belonged, among other owners, to Tazio Nuvolari as well, when he started to go from motorcycle racing down to car racing. So one was one of his cars. And the beauty of a 37A, it's a very light car, even though it's only 4-cylinder, but being so light, it gives that enough power to enjoy. It's like a go-kart, I would say. And it's my little baby.
Car 5 is a 1928 Alfa Romeo 1500 Mille Miglia Spider Speciale, driven by Federico Goetze-Beber and navigated by his father Michael. With a Zagato body, this stunning creation has been in the family since 1961. After being rescued by Federico's grandfather, Count Giovanni Johnny Lurani.
This did not at that time belong to him. But this car came into his hands after the war, and it was a kind of a chicken car. They had something behind to put things on it, but he found then all the original parts, got it, and had it then redone completely. And since then he drove the car, and it's really all original parts, and we're very happy. That is the story. Then my wife, his daughter, was racing with it a lot, and I did some Emilia from 2000 up to 2008, and now it's my son.
Finally my turn.
Car 2 is a 1928 Bugatti Type 43 Grand Sport, boasting a supercharged 2262cc inline 8-cylinder engine. The Type 43 was widely credited as being the first production car capable of breaking the 100-mile-an-hour barrier, while its contemporaries could only reach 70. Raced by Malcolm Campbell, the 120-horsepower engine could propel it to 60 miles per hour in a remarkable 12 seconds. Limited production meant that only 160 of these cars were ever made.
Yeah, it's a sports tourer really, so it's a car that's quite quick, but it's built for longer distance touring, so it's a comfortable thing. So we thought it'd be ideal for this rally.
The crews collect their road books and maps and start to plot the first leg of the event. Guy Woodcock, clerk of the course, leads the driver briefing.
Right, we'll just do a bit of technical stuff now, ladies and gentlemen. These are the things that I think I need you to be aware of and are quite important for the running of the event from our point.
Let's see where the first leg will take them. They start with a test immediately after they've crossed the start line, followed by a short run out to Effingham, Winterfold, Dunsfold, Frensham Pond, and onto Hook for an overnight halt at Tilney Hall. Today, Peter Reid, chairman of the motoring committee of the Royal Automobile Club, is here to flag off the cruise at precisely 1:30 p.m. Starting with car number 1, the Bugatti Type 37A, each crew will make their way to the captain's drive for the start of the first test. Frederick Richard Sims founded the Royal Automobile Club in 1897, and its distinguished history mirrors that of motoring itself. 10 years later, in 1907, King Edward VII awarded the club the royal title that it still holds to this day, sealing the club's status as Britain's oldest and most influential motoring organisation. The target time for this test is 48 seconds, and the Bugatti Type 37A of Procovio and Dixon has charged up the steep incline in 1 minute and 7 seconds. A great effort and setting the standard for the rest of the field. the cruise set off, the fastest test time has been recorded by last year's winners Abel and Taylor, with just 56 seconds. The crews arrive at the elegant Tilney Hall, built in 1700, and renovated in Victorian times by the adventurer Sir Lionel Phillips, who made his fortune from the Kimberley diamond mine in South Africa. Tilney reputedly has the longest uninterrupted view in Hampshire and offers breathtaking moments as the sun goes down on the first day's competition. Let's have a look at the leaderboard results. In overall first we have Abel and Taylor and Crosby and Pullen, a respectable third for Martin and Leslie Neal. Only a few seconds separate these crews, which means we have an exciting day tomorrow watching their progress. Day 2, an early start this morning for crews. After breakfast, they'll head out at 8 AM for a route stretching some 200 miles north across the Berkshire Downs to the Cotswolds and Blenheim Palace. Then over to the Bicester Heritage Centre, then on to Wilton Mill and an overnight halt at Combe Abbey in Coventry. Let's take in some regularity action heading towards the beautiful Cotswolds. Guy Woodcock, the clerk of the course, has also added in a greater degree of challenge for the crews. Crofton and Bent in their Arrive and Drive Riley 9 horsepower Brooklands have been putting in some outstanding performances on these regularities. The deep ford at Bucklesbury is a highlight for many crews, but it's caused a problem for Dutch crew Degenaar and Vrij. Their beautiful Bentley blower decided that it didn't like the amphibious assault.
The water came in here, happily went into the compressor, and luckily it stopped the engine, so there's no water in the engine.
Okay.
Lunch is at the magnificent English Baroque masterpiece Blenheim Palace, birthplace of Sir Winston Churchill and principal residence of the Dukes of Marlborough. A large crowd has gathered around the historic vehicles as they assemble in the external courtyard, testament to the love affair the public has with these cars. From Blenheim, crews head over to the event partner, Bicester Heritage's complex.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right.
Today has been a tense battle between the top crews, with only 11 seconds separating them. The overnight is being held at Combe Abbey, where the crews enjoy a sumptuous medieval banquet. Day 3. Leaving the architectural splendour of Combe Abbey, the crews headed north once more through the West Midlands via 2 tests at Arbory Hall and Meervale. Then it's over to the hauntingly beautiful National Memorial Arboretum near Rugeley. There's a stop at Chatsworth House, Capesthorne Hall, and into Cheshire for a final stop at Chester. Let's catch up with the crews during 2 very slippery tests.
2, 1, go!
Medcalf and Harrison piling the pressure on Abel and Taylor with some blisteringly quick times. They're acing the regularities too. Planting began at the National Memorial Arboretum in 1997, and it's become a special place, honouring those who have served and continue to serve our nation in many different ways. While it commemorates the armed forces who've given their lives since World War II, it also honours police officers, fire, rescue and ambulance personnel who have fallen whilst on duty. We're at Chatsworth House now, home of the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire, for a spot of lunch at the stable complex. Interestingly, the great-grandson of Clarence Gregson, one of the original competitors from the 1900 1,000-mile trial, joins us here today. Delighted, of course, to see such a superb array of vehicles. During the afternoon, the clerk of the course, Guy Woodcock, has really started to pile the pressure on with some very intricate navigation instructions and not-as-map junctions. This, coupled with a disguised marshal control point, has presented a few problems and numerous penalties for some crews. At least the scenery is truly stunning.
A few problems today. Clutch has been playing up. We've had to get underneath the car a few times to try and get that working. It's sort of working at the moment, and we've picked up a few points here and there. We got held up on the first, and the next, but last reg, quite a bit. But not too bad really, considering. Could have been a lot worse.
As the crews approached the overnight halt at the historic town of Chester, we reached the halfway point of the remarkable Royal Automobile Club's 1,000-mile trial. It seems we have a tussle at the top with just a handful of seconds between all five. Let's see what the day's results look like. Metcalfe and Harrison are starting to pull out a slender lead over Crosby and Pullen in first and second overall. In third, last year's winners Abel and Taylor. In fourth are Ruston and Haylock, and in fifth, Crofton and Bent. It could go anyone's way when we venture into Wales tomorrow. Day 4. An early start for crews today. The route will take them south through the Dee Valley and over the Berwyn Mountains toward Lake Vyrnwy. Lunch will be served at the country mansion of Greginog Hall. Then it's over the long mountain to Croft Castle before a quick visit to Shelsley Walsh and overnight halt at the delightful Chateau Impney. It's here that the leaderboard starts to take a different shape. The next regularity started on private land. This means that controls don't have to conform to the 2-mile rule. One section had controls stationed at an interval of less than 2 miles, and it completely caught this crew out. The Bentley pair came across the control 48 seconds early, a straightforward regularity that appears to have delivered a terrible blow to this talented crew.
What can you laugh
Exactly. Tell me about it.
Good. You need a little more mascot. Thank you.
The lunch stop is at the imposing Greginog Hall, an ancient site restored during Victorian times with the black and white timber-framed structure replicating the look of the Tudor farms of Montgomeryshire. The 750 acres form a perfect backdrop for these rare and beautiful cars.
It's the afternoon of leg 4. We're at Croft Castle, somewhere in Herefordshire, I think. We just had a lovely afternoon tea. I think we're still leading after a bit of a dramatic start this morning for two of the other crews. So I don't know quite what's happening with the results, but we'll have to see what happens when we get to the end of the leg.
It's a tough rally. We said that before, but it really is. And it got awfully worse this morning when we dropped a big one. And we tumbled down the leaderboard, and so now we're going to fight hard to try and climb back up again. But yeah, it's proven to be a real tough event.
What actually happened this morning?
The navigator had brain fade at a critical moment, and our rally just fell off the edge of the desk into the dustbin.
Shelsley Walsh is a favourite location with hero events for the penultimate test of the day. Crews couldn't pass so close and not have a chance to sample the oldest continuously used motorsport venue in the world. Built between 1885 to 1887 at a cost then of £21,000, Chateau Impney was inspired by the Palace of Versailles and the Chateau of the Loire Valley. In the 1950s and 60s, a popular hill climb was established here, and this will be the venue of the final action of the day.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Talented crew Taylor and Cussons have been on fire during this test. They've recorded a super fast time, eclipsing both Metcalf and Harrison and Abel and Taylor. The Day 4 results show some big changes. Medcalf and Harrison have dropped to 5th place overall. Instead, we have Abel and Taylor in 1st overall. In 2nd, there's Ruston and Haylock. In 3rd, we have Crosby and Pullen. In 4th, we have Crofton and Bent. The crews have covered 718 miles of countryside so far, and tomorrow will be the penultimate day of the 2015 Royal Automobile Club 1,000 Mile Trial. Stay tuned to see the final 2 days' action. Day 5.
Right, how are you feeling about today?
Looking forward to it. The sun's shining. We've got a lovely route ahead, and I'm really keen to get going.
Pretty linear today, all the way down to Goodwood for this evening's halt. Some great driving roads for the competitors today, but the competition's still a bit serious. There's some battles all the way through the field. The leads now seems to be reasonably safe because everybody made a few errors yesterday on the navigation, but it's all close.
The 5th leg takes crews from Chateau Impney on a very linear route towards Horling, Wilton House, Potter's Heron and glorious Goodwood. No time for sightseeing today. Car 26, a 1935 Riley Sprite TT, crewed by Michele Di Paolo and Livia Laterza. This stunning creation lay broken in pieces until the 1960s, then changed hands a couple of times before a painstaking restoration and labour of love brought it to the condition you see now. This Riley Sprite was one of the few examples to benefit from an 1808cc high-compression 6-cylinder engine. To harness the extra power, Riley equipped the vehicle with large-diameter racing drums, which activated by push rods, not hydraulics. The last of the day's action now, with 2 tests at the hallowed hill climb at Goodwood. The Day 5 results look like this. With 934 miles covered so far, Abel and Taylor have held on to first, with Medcalf and Harrison and Crosby and Pullen tied for second. It could have been so different if the Bentley pair hadn't gained so many penalties on the run down from Wales. They would have been leading the event and almost certain winners. Day 6. We've talked about the increasing camaraderie among crew. Perhaps we should also mention a mischief-making tendency that appears to be afflicting some of the crews. Overnight, the Triumph Dolomite 8C of Turner & Cussons has been given a full custom wrap in tin foil by the delectable Katerina Kevalova. Turner & Cussons will find it impossible not to seek revenge for this misdeed. There's nervousness in the air today as crews leave on their final leg of the event. Here's the final route. Leaving Goodwood, after 2 tests, crews wend their way through the Sussex and Hampshire countryside before calling in at the Deer's Hut Inn at Liphook. Then it's full steam ahead for the finishing line at Woodcote Park, where it all started 6 days ago, and 1,085 miles away. As expected, Turner and Cusson's revenge was soon in coming. It may be some time before she forgives that act.
You put this
Back now at Woodcote Park for the final test on the Captain's Drive, which will take competitors over the finish line. And not even a final charge from Metcalfe and Harrison could stop Abel and Taylor from winning the 2015 Royal Automobile Club's 1,000-mile trial. It's been a very closely fought event. It has ended with a well-deserved second victory in a row for Abel and Taylor in their 1937 Lagonda LG 45. In second place is Metcalfe and Harrison, who have pushed the winners right from the very start. If it wasn't for an error on the innocuous Lake Vyrnwy regularity, the result could have been so different. In third, we have Paul Crosby and Andy Pullen. They've had one of the drives of the week. Their Arrive and Drive AC 1680 March Special was a delight to watch on the tests. The champagne is flowing as finishing crews cross the line, in front of the members and guests who have assembled to welcome the competitors home. Master of Ceremonies at the Gala Presentation Dinner is Clerk of the Course, Guy Woodcock.
In third place, and a great result, bringing the AC March home. Third place goes to Paul Crosby and Andy Pullen. We move on to second overall, and after a great battle goes to car 32, William Metcalfe and Dan Harrison in the Bentley 4.5 litre. But for the second year running on the 1,000-mile trial 2015, first overall, car 40, John Abel and Martin Taylor.
Thanks to everyone involved in the 2015 Royal Automobile Club's 1,000-mile trial. The competitors, the sponsors, the marshals, the officials, the organisers, the clerk of the course, Guy Woodcock, and of course the wonderful spectators that warmly cheered on the crews across the countryside.
Seem to have had a little schoolboy error and run out of fuel, but all fun. We're 2 miles up the road is the next fuel
No one
station.
told us we had to put petrol in. We're all about the competition. Oh, what else is it about? Sorry. Hard work for you, Paul? Yes, it is. At this time in the morning, it's a workout.
This is so funny. This is Lagonda haircut.
Yeah. Is my hair any good?
Oh, that's terrible.
Hero is my hero. This really was amazing. It's really good. So Patrick, Thomas, love you for that. This is just amazing. You ticked all boxes.